I think sometimes as a church, we look at unchurched people as if they're our project, and we don't look at them as people. And so I think one of the reasons why the church has struggled so much getting unchurched in is because we create these environments that church people are comfortable in, but we've never really discovered what's an environment that unchurched people are comfortable in. I think when you get out of school, you have all these hopes and dreams if you're going to go out and save the world, that all the thousands of people that aren't connected with Christ, you're going to go get them, and it's going to be a wild, fun, crazy ride. And then you get into your first church and you realize all the hurdles that you have to work through. In fact, I got to a point where I thought, if this is ministry, I want nothing to do with it. The pressure to grow a church was always very real, but sometimes it was disconnected from the actual making a difference in somebody's life. We went to Salem, Illinois, which was our first time out of Dakotas. But we went to a great community, a great church full of good people, but we always wrestled with, it's not North Dakota, it's not our people. Most of my work was within those walls of that church, and I struggled with that. I struggled with not being invested in the community that I lived in. But I remember reading a passage of scripture where Jesus was walking, picking out his group of disciples, and he came across the tax collector's booth where Levi was. He looked at Levi and said, I want to pick you. I want you to follow me. And for whatever reason, Levi got up and he left everything and started following Jesus. But I read it in the Message that day, and it just resonated with me. Jesus looked at them and said, I haven't come to coddle the insiders. I've come for the outsiders. And I can remember reading that and just thinking, I want to give my life to going after the outsiders. And it wasn't long after that where I got a call from a group that asked if I would go start Prairie Heights in Bismarck. We basically had an action plan that even that action plan was probably a little shaky. We didn't have any music. We had no building. We had no people. We really began to think through, how do we connect with these outsiders? How do we connect with people who are unchurched? And so I did something that 10 years ago would never have made sense to me. I got on my computer. We needed music. I Googled best bar bands in Bismarck, North Dakota, and a list of bands just came up. And I just started calling them. And as soon as I would tell them that I'm starting up a church, every one of them said no to me. And finally, a couple guys who were in a band called Fully Loaded agreed to play with us. And that was the start of our music at our church. Initially, I think they gave me 2 weeks, and they're with us 2 years later, which is pretty phenomenal. We went to one of their concerts, and I did feel strongly that, man, if I'm going to invite them into my world, I need to go hang out in their world. But what I discovered when I walked into some of those places, they were the most accepting, loving, great group of people that you'd ever meet. They just didn't know Jesus. So we got our band, and we just started to do things that we felt would pique the interest of unchurched people. But I would say probably at the beginning, what was key to our initial growth was when we came to Bismarck, I wasn't going to be full-time working in ministry. I was going to have to go out and find other jobs. I would try to find jobs that would connect me with people, knowing full well that in order for us to start reaching outsiders, I had to go out and find a job that would get me in connection with outsiders. And so everybody that I came in contact with, I thought, I'm going to go in with a sense of purpose and hopefully add value to them. And that's so fulfilling. We've discovered that when people walk into church, they do walk in with these walls built up. They're scared to come to church. Our first song in every service is a secular song. And our whole purpose of doing that is we want to chip away at that wall. By the time we get to the message, I really believe that we have chipped away at that wall enough to where they're ready to listen to God. And God breaks through that wall, and he does those things that only he can do, and he starts to change their heart. I'm absolutely convinced that evangelism at its best is done when we are so full of Jesus Christ that it just oozes out of us. what comes out of me is what's in me. And so it should happen naturally. And I think that's been the secret to our success here in Bismarck. It's just out of the overflow of what God is doing in people.